Hey, what's up everyone? David here and welcome back to another video. Today's gonna be a little bit different. I actually was looking for video ideas the other day and I asked you guys on the channel in the community page, what would you like to see from me in terms of Atlus content? And there was so many great ideas, but there was one in particular that stood out to me, which is from Will the Greatest. Shoutouts to Will the Greatest, with the comment here saying top 5 games from Atlus that deserves a remake maybe. And I think that is a very good idea, and this is exactly what we're going to do today. I came up with a list, and I just want to say it before, disclaimer, this is my personal list, and I have personal reasons why I am mentioning those remakes. Some of them are community-driven picks, others are my own personal picks, and others are just for fun, so I hope you guys will enjoy this different type of video on the channel. If you do, quick thumbs up really helps, and if you're new to my channel, you want more content on anything in terms of Atlus, Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Once again, shoutouts to Will the Greatest for the idea, and you guys can keep a watch on the community tab because this is definitely something that I'll do again in the future, asking for video ideas, so make sure to comment with your own ideas of what you would like to see in terms of Atlus content. But without any further ado, let's just jump right into it with my first pick for an Atlus game that deserves a remake. My first pick goes to Shin Megami Tensei If. Now, if you didn't know, SMT If is a game that released over 20 years ago on the Super Famicom in Japan. It is a game that is exclusive to Japan. It also released on the PlayStation 1. Great game overall. I didn't play it to completion, played it a little bit. I watched March's video as well on it, which was great, and I think this game overall looks extremely interesting. Now, from the characters to the story to the visuals, everything looks really interesting, but there's some obvious flaws in terms of gameplay, and I feel like this game would benefit from a remake. One, they could make it worldwide. They could make it a global launch, meaning that everyone would be able to play a brand new Shin Megami Tensei If remake, and it would be a first playthrough for anyone outside of Japan, which is always something exciting to see. Again, I feel like the characters and story aged super well, so they wouldn't even have to touch that, but they could definitely give a touch to the gameplay, both in terms of combat, change some of the things that really didn't age that well, the world of sloth, those things, right? There's a lot of things that they could do, the Akira volume as well. Lots of work that they could put into SMT If to make it a great modern title, in my opinion. So Shin Megami Tensei If is my first pick for an Atlus game that deserves a remake. Oh, and just before I keep going, I just want to mention it real quick. This is a list that has no particular order, okay? So it's not like a ranking. Those are just my picks in no specific order. The next one is the obvious candidate here that anyone who's been following me for a long time, you know this is a community-driven pick, and that would be Persona 3. Now, I had to change a little bit my ideas for this video because obviously recently we got the confirmation that Persona 3 Portable is coming to modern platforms. As of the recording of this video, it is confirmed to be coming to PS4, Xbox, platforms, and PC, which is great. Persona 3 is a game that doesn't have a definitive edition of the game. There's no game that has all the content from Persona 3, the original, Persona 3 FES, and Persona 3 Portable. So it is an obvious pick for a lot of people, and I don't want to get into the reasons why. I am not myself looking forward to a Persona 3 remake. I feel like there's a lot of things that they would have to redo, but I feel like it's a game that would work if they do it right? They could refund Tartarus, change the gameplay a little bit, make it one big remake with all the content from all the versions, the music, the both protagonists, all the different social links, all in one big release in 2022 would be great. It is the beginning of the Neo Persona games with the calendar system, with the social links. It's a game that would do extremely well, and for a ton of reasons, even though it's not my own personal pick, it is still a pick that deserves a spot on this list because it makes a ton of sense. Persona 3 is my second pick for an Atlus game that deserves a remake. My third pick is a very interesting one. It's one that I came with during a podcast, an episode of the Demon Appreciation podcast. And pardon me, I don't remember when exactly, I don't remember who, but someone asked during the show a question which was really interesting, and it was, what is one crazy Atlus game that you would like to see remade? And I came up right there with this crazy idea, and that would be Catherine. Yes, Catherine. And you might say, why would you remake Catherine? It's pretty much a perfect game. And to that I would say, hell yeah, it is. You're completely right. But yes, there's a but, Catherine in VR. Yes, absolutely, Catherine in VR would be great for a bunch of reasons, and I'm gonna say it right now, it would be great for both the story sequences, right?
I'm all wet.
You guys know what I mean? And it will also be great in terms of gameplay. Could you imagine you have to climb all the little blocks, and then you hear edge, 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 and then you push the sheep down the down the edge when you're climbing? It would be so great with the creepy bosses and stuff. Yeah, Catherine in VR, obviously it could be like a dumbed down experience, doesn't have to be the complete game, but a few levels with Catherine would be cool. Maybe a little interesting side story. It's more like a new game spin-off type of thing than a remake, but hell, I want to put it out there. Let's get crazy, make it a remake. It would be really, really, really interesting. Again, both in the story and gameplay department, so it's just a funny pick, but I'm like, hey, no one talks about this. A Catherine remake in VR would be interesting, to say the least. Now, this is an obvious crazy pick. It's probably never gonna happen, but hey, you can't say that this isn't interesting, right? I want to hear what you guys think about this pick in particular before I move on to my next pick, which is Devil Summoner Soul Hackers. Now, we're pretty much 2 months away from the release of Soul Hackers 2, and I want to point this out. Soul Hackers 2, not Devil Summoner Soul Hackers 2, it is just Soul Hackers 2. Now, the game that I'm talking about is the original Soul Hackers, which is Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, that came out on Sega Saturn pretty much 25 years ago or so. It was first localized on a Nintendo 3DS in 2013. Very, 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 very good game. It's a game that I adored when I first played it. Great characters, great teams, great setting, the cyberpunk setting. It is really, really great. And when you look at the characters and story, everything is like, it aged really well, the gameplay and characters. Now, you may ask, David, why? Why would you remake a game if it aged that well? The gameplay, it doesn't feel great to play in 2022. This game aged. There's a lot of gameplay features like the demon loyalty system that a bunch of fans, myself excluded, like I don't really mind that system, but for some good reasons, there's a lot of fans that don't appreciate this system. The first person dungeon crawling is also a feature that a lot of people don't appreciate. Once again, I don't particularly care about it, but I feel like they could completely remake that game with its interesting characters and interesting story. They could just remake it in the Soul Hackers 2 style, both in terms of gameplay and in visuals, and I feel like it would really, really work. Now, we don't know everything about Soul Hackers 2 yet, so I'm careful with what I'm saying, but from what I'm seeing in the trailers, I feel like Soul Hackers would also work with similar visuals and potentially similar gameplay as well. They could get rid of some of the things that make Soul Hackers, the original, an aged product, and again, I feel like so many fans would adore and fall in love with that game if they ever give it a shot, but unfortunately those gameplay elements are probably one of the many reasons why people are not even giving it a chance, which is a bummer. Plus, you guys, it makes a ton of sense. The sequel is coming out in 2 months, so they could bring it back a few months after, a year after or something. It would be great, and if Soul Hackers 2 is the gem that it seems to be, well, I'm sure people will be interested in checking out the first game as well if they make it more modern. So that was my 4th pick, but now, the 5th pick. The 5th pick is actually a dangerous one. It is one of my top 3 games of all time, and that would be Shin Megami Tensei 4. Now, SMT4 is a 3DS game, 4th mainline installment in the SMT series. Awesome, awesome game. 10 out of 10 game in my opinion. Belongs right next to like Yakuza 0, Zelda Ocarina of Time, all those games that are like very, very high on my list of best games of all time. And that's because of the amazing gameplay, amazing characters, amazing story, 10 out of 10 soundtrack. Everything's good in my opinion about SMT4. So why would I want a remake, you'll ask? Well, I don't want them to do much to it except give me the same game with SMT5 visuals and performance. Like, give me something like that. It would be so great. Put it on all the modern platforms. That would be so cool. I just want the full HD environments. I want to see the Tokyo in glorious HD with brand new models and all that stuff. The combat, I want to see it in 3D. And that may be controversial, but that's my pick. That's what I would like to see. Now, I want to say it because it's important. Don't touch the story. Don't touch the characters. And in terms of the combat, don't change the gameplay. I love everything about it. I just want it to look better, make it sound better as well. Don't touch my soundtrack. It's goated. Ryota Kuzuka is my goat, but you can just make the audio sounds more crisp Again, make it multi-platform, release it on every single system, and people would be blown away. Like, this game is so good, and it would put it next to like the biggest RPGs of recent years that people all look at, right? That's my opinion. If it had those visuals with that crazy good gameplay, it would be in the Game of the Year category discussion with games like Tales of Arise, Persona 5, Xenoblade Chronicles, all those IPs, Dragon Quest. It would be right next to those games, and SMT has been struggling a little bit to be next to those major games in the mainstream. So it's not that I absolutely want SMT to be in the mainstream, but I feel like SMT4, with it being such a good game, if it had modern visuals, if it played like a modern game, which it doesn't at times, it's a 3DS game after all, it would be next to the greatest RPGs ever made. This is my list of top 5 Atlus remakes. It is really out there. I want to hear what you guys have to say on this one. What is your personal top 5 Atlus remakes? Games that deserves a remake that you would like to see? Drop a comment below and let me know. And once again, if you enjoyed the video, a quick thumbs up really helps. And if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date on anything in terms of Atlus, SMT, Persona, you are at the right place. Make sure to subscribe, ring that notification bell, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.